Tonight's a disadvantage, and I think the small field suits her. So on paper, she reads quite well. She's got the miles in her legs, she's got a middle pin draw, and she's got a small field. Has she got the class? I'm not sure about, but he is placed her quite well, and she deserves a crack at a race of this quality.
And the only greyhound we haven't mentioned in this field is number 5, Payback for Terry Reid. I mean, can she have any impact? It seems her best is okay, but I mean, you couldn't expect that from her tonight, in my opinion.
No, but if you go through her form, she's always within 4 or 5 lengths of the winner. So she doesn't numerically read pretty, but she's never too far away. She's another one that's just a mid-tracker that goes through her gears, will need everything right. Can she cause an upset? Most probably not, but I think she'll acquit herself quite well to this sort of staying race.
Okay, might be the perfect time to get out to Corey Smith, who looks like he's with Mason representing Team Grenfell.
I'm with Mason, who's representing Corey Grenfell tonight. Paul Quinby, he's a dog that we haven't seen over the 700, but early days was stepped up to the 595 and even a 680. So is this always been what he's been earmarked for?
Not really. Bit of a throw at the stumps.
So the confidence in the market, there's been a bit of a go in the early stages. Is that coming from the camp, or is it more just other people speculating, particularly after his run last week where his run home was really good over the 500?
I think he's really well suited in the race. Loves the red. Won't go around dogs.
All right, well, he likes the red, and I'll talk to a girl that might like the inside as well, Ethanol Water. Joshy Formosa last week, she was probably a little bit below par, I think it's fair to say. How she come through that run? Obviously, wouldn't have been nominated if she wasn't right.
Yeah, it was a bit of a plain run last week, but went home, done everything normal, got her checked, she's right to go, so she should be firing tonight.
And we've seen her come out humming in the early stages, but we've seen her bomb it as well. Is there any sort of idea that she can give you leading up to the race if you know what she's going to do?
Oh, not really, but I think she's sort of better suited down to the rail. She just gets that bit of confidence coming out and finding the rail, so I think she should lead tonight. Yeah.
All right, well, good luck, Josh. And I might grab Terry Reid as well, who's got Payback here. Terry, haven't seen her over 700 for a little while. Has that been by design or just lack of opportunity?
No, she's just on her way back, so I'm hoping she'll run on.
Yeah. She's obviously a nice, strong type and has probably been earmarked as a stayer from early days.
Yeah, she always looked like being a stayer, so I just hope she can get a good sit in the rails, don't run too wide, and after they've done a lap, start to work home.
All right, well, good luck. I'll let these guys go. But, boys, it's an intriguing race. What's Ethanol Water going to do? Can she recover after last week's plain performance, or will it be someone else that steps up?
Thanks, Smithy. Well, Ethanol Water is the elephant in the room, Nathan Mooney, because she was poor to her expectations last week in the Zoom stop. So was she bad enough for you to take her on tonight?
No, she wasn't. I priced up the race twice because I wasn't sure how to assess her, but both times she come up odds on for me. So I settled with her. I was happy to just append that, back Team Daly in here 7 days later to have a spot on. Joshy's got a bit of confidence there. He thinks she can find the top. She should be able to find the top. She should be able to dictate. If she can do that, I think we can see the Ethanol Water that we expected through, the Queensland Carnival. She was at her brilliant best. One bad run, certainly can't put a line through her. I went her on top, Shake and Bake, and On a Stayer in box 8 in for second. Paul Quimby, well drawn in box 1. A little bit of a question mark over the 7:30 in for third. And 4, Valletta Diva in for fourth. 2, 8, 1 and 4 my numbers.
And if history has told us anything, take Team Daly on trust with Ethanol Water from what we saw last week. I don't mind the chances of Flying Emmy. I think she can run a race at odds. Let's get up to James Vandermark for the first heat of the Fanta Bale Stayers.
One of the Fanta Bale Stayers. Stand by for a jump. Favourites in box 2. They're set. Off they go, and Ethanol Water jump quickly down near the inside, pressured by Valletta Diva, and going out fast from the outside, Flying Envy. And Flying Envy's going to charge around and take the lead from Ethanol Water, who looks a bit of a carbon copy to last week, just lost ground through the bend. A lap to go, it's Flying Envy on her bike, pedalling hard by 3 lengths to Shake and Bake, up to third, Poor Quinby. Ethanol Water gets balance, starts to wind up again. 4 lengths then to Payback, and Valletta Diva's at the end, but Flying Envy led. A length and a half in front to Shake and Bake, 2 to Poor Quinby. Ethanol Water ran into trouble as they corner. It's Flying Envy. They're just one batting. She's still a length and a half to Shake and Bake. Now Ethanol Water searching down the outside, and the favourite gets up. Never looked likely. Ethanol Water returns a winner by a half length. Shake and Bake. They got to Flying Envy in the last 50. She was third ahead of Payback. Then Poor Quinby and Valletta Diva last in. Time at 42 and 75.
Yeah. Performance from Ethanol Water. She was gone early, Nathan. Gone. And she's got off the canvas and got the job done.
Yeah, she was gone numerous times. She was able to jump out of the boxes, lead, and then found a bit of interference, shuffled back to the situation she was in last week where she went backwards, but then she was about to pick herself up, and yeah, it was a very gutsy win.
Keen to get the thoughts of the kennel of that performance. Joshy Formosa's with Corey Smith.
That's probably a run that leaves more questions than answers. She jumped pretty well, which is what you wanted from the inside draw, and then she kind of got overtaken, but she came again late. She showed that she's a true stayer.
Yeah, she was going to lead. She got shuffled back, checked off heels. She looked like she was gone and come again. It was a massive run. Yeah, super.
What do you do with her for the next week? She obviously had not a mishap last week, but she was a little bit lackluster, and then she comes here tonight and runs over the top of them. Does she just have a quiet week at home?
Just the usual, same as last week. We don't change too much and just trust the system, and it shows that it pays off tonight.
Will you be handling next week, or is someone else going to have a crack at trying to get her out as well?
Yeah, well, that's the big question. She jumped right tonight, so I might get the gig again.
Just while we've got you as well, how's Smokey, Blue Camaro? How's he travelling?
Yeah, well, he didn't actually break his hockey. He done all the ligaments in it, so he's still finished. But yeah, he's healed up at home and just got some pins in his leg. He's coming through all right, but yeah, he's going to have a crack at stud, and we'll see how he goes and come home on the couch as well.
Well, I hear the Dailies like to breed a few litters from time to time, so hopefully they'll support you as well.
You'll have to con George into breeding a few litters out of him.
All right, good luck and well done there with Ethanol Water, Joshy Formosa. Nice and happy, boys.
Thanks, Smithy. Let's break down this race, Rooney, because Ethanol Water, she began well and she drifted back straight away, and we said off air, she's gone, lights out. And she's come back to win. That was, well, one, confusing, but at the same time, impressive.
Yeah, I think in her defence, the stayers here weren't genuine bona fide stayers. So Flying Envy taking over, we touched on, had a couple of 500s this year. So to get outpaced by Flying Envy was most probably not a surprise, but how fast she got back through the middle stages was. She was able to, pick herself up and start to make a run again after a lap, and then got on the heels of Paul Quimby when she was building up some momentum, and then I thought she was gone. But then she was able to peel to the outside and really pick herself up off the canvas. Considering how bad she dropped out last week, to have that interrupted run tonight and still pick herself up and win by 3/4 of a length, I thought the run was full of merit. She really turned the tables on what she did last week, and I think it comes back to, as you touched on, trusting the dailies, trusting the process. One bad run, put a line through it. She did come back after a Queensland campaign when she was up there for 5 or 6 weeks. You did an interview with Joe Borg with Deadly Adventure, and he commented on the travel really knocked that greyhound around. The flight wasn't a pretty flight. You don't know what happened with her. We don't know how she handled that trip back. She obviously didn't settle in. She ran very much below par, but she was able to bounce back tonight, and give her another 7 days, she'll be back to her best next week. But that run was full of merit for a front-running stayer to lose her position early in the run, cop interference, have impeded runs numerous times, but still pull to the outside, put her head down, chase like a demon, and get the win in some decent enough time. I think that run was full of merit, and it just bona fide why you don't question Team Daly when they put him in after a subpar run.
So the data out of this is going to be quite interesting to compare her run last week to what she's done tonight. Now, you mentioned the strength of those up front and how they were running home. So, I mean, visually she's gotten home well, but will it be much different to what we saw last week, you think?
It's hard to go on because she did lose momentum again at the 600-metre boxes when she was making that run and got on the heels of Paul Quimby. So it's a very stop-and-start sort of run by her. So the data might not indicate much of a change. It'll certainly, the last 100, I think you'll be able to see a change, but compared to last week where she completely dropped out. But I just think the way she did it tonight was really, really good and really pleasing for the greyhound. Yeah, they'd like to see her jump and lead like she did for the first 50 here tonight, but I think they'd like to see her be able to hold her position a little bit better going through that first corner to the post the first time. That was a slight concern because she did go from in front to 5 or 6 behind the leader at the post the first time without a massive bump or massive interference. She just kind of lost her spot in running. That's a slight concern, but I think the last 100 and the way she picked herself up was more than pleasing, and they're getting her back to what we know she's capable of, and she'll be right in 7 days' time to really put her paw on the tilde produce another fine run.
Yep, and here she is dropping back in the field, particularly when they got to the 500-metre boxes for the first time. And you sort of, I'm sure there are a lot of people in Australia will be thinking, she's gone. But as we've spoken about, she's got off the canvas. And here, the illustrate assist check she gets from the red, because that's cost her a lot of momentum.
That's the momentum, and that's what the ISOlinks data might not show, because she was making her run there, and she copped that off the heels of poor Quimby, who was tiring, and then she had to balance up and come down the outside. I think the other unlucky runner, if you go back and dissect that replay, will be Shake and Bake, because it had Flying Envy's measure at the 600 boxes, and it got on top of the heels of the leader there too. Cost itself a couple of lengths, had to balance up, and they both lost a little bit in running, and we know Shake and Bake, as we touched on, is just a bona fide honest stayer. So both of them runs, the first two to go through, were quite pleasing, even though the times might indicate how well they've gone. I think race-wise, they've done quite a good job, considering they've struck enough interference to cost some momentum during the course of that race.
Yeah, 100%. Thrilling start to the opening heat of the Fanabale Stays. We'll be back in a few minutes to hone in on heat number 2.